Welcome to the Cincinnati Bengal Genius Show. I'm your host, Eddie Nashville. This is a special episode. I wanted to give you a background on how I became a Bengalologist. How did it all start, right? No little kid runs along and says, hey, I'm going to be a Bengal expert, right? So what happened? Back in 1981, a little Eddie Nashville was sitting in his house. I grew up in Detroit. And, of course, the hometown team was the Detroit Lions. And they were always bad, still are bad. But back then when I was a little kid, they interrupted the game. I don't know why. I don't know if it was a highlight or what. I was 7 years old. It was 1981 in November. And it was Lewis Breeden intercepting a pass against the San Diego Chargers, and he ran all the way back for a touchdown. I think it was a touchdown. I don't know. But it was just sweet. I don't know what it was, if I loved animals or tigers or what, man. But those uniforms, those sweet stripes, man, they look so sweet. Too sweet. And I just was like, ooh, I like the Bengals. And I was 7 years old. You know, time passes differently when you're a kid. So next thing you know, it's the playoffs. And it's the Buffalo Bills against the Cincinnati Bengals the same year. You know, I was at my grandma's house, and we were upstairs in the kitchen. And I don't even know what was going on. I thought we were playing cards. Maybe we weren't. They always say that memory is a funny thing, right? Went downstairs. I was like, hey, grandma, go down there. And whatever was going on was the Bengals beating the Buffalo Bills, you know? And I was like, hey, Bengals are winning again. Okay, cool. Forgot all about it, you know? I think that same weekend, or maybe it was the next weekend, I don't know, but there was the big old Miami Dolphin, San Diego Chargers super game where they went to overtime, and it was the big, Miami was down 24-0, and San Diego had to come back. Or no, it was vice versa. Yeah, no, that's right. Miami was down 24-0. They came all the way back, and it was unbelievable, and it was Ralph Benershka and Kellen Winslow getting carried off the field because he was so exhausted, tired, and it was great, you know. So, of course, the next week, as we all know, was the Freezer Bowl, and once again, now keep in mind, this is a little 7-year-old mind of mine. Cincinnati Bengals are back again, you know, freezing, Ken Anderson, cold breath and all that stuff, and it was great, man. So off they went to the Super Bowl and the Pontiac Silverdome, and of course we all know what happened there. Bengals lost to 49ers. Well, as luck would have it, the next year, I mean, I'm a little kid. I'm assuming every single year the Bengals are going to go, you know, the Bengals are going to go every single year to the Super Bowl or whatever, win the championship game. Next year, they go that was that strike season, and Freeman McNeil ripped them up and down and tore them apart. And the Bengals lost in the playoffs to the Jets. And that started a huge, crazy stretch of no playoff, no Super Bowl football. Until, of course, that magical season of 1988, huh? Every Bengal fan remembers that. It was so exciting, so great. Out of nowhere. I remember the Bengals were losing, I don't know. I haven't looked it up, but I can't remember when they had a winning record out of September and that whole time. But that year, it was great, man. They opened the season up. I believe it was against the Cardinals. And it was 1-0. I think they had a gold line stand. And I remember there was a shootout between Boomer Esiason and Randall Cunningham, right? And the Bengals pulled it out again. It was 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. I think they got all the way up to 6-0, and then they had to deal with Doug Flutie, and I think it was Reggie Dupard and they battled, and the Bengals lost. But it was such a streak, and it was like, whoa, hey, things are different. You remember that 88 year? It was so exciting. I remember that play action fake with old Boomer Esiason, man, especially against Washington. He went whoop, and they still show the highlights to this day, man. He did that play action, and it was over the top to Eddie Brown. Go to overtime, and then the beloved Jim Breach hooked it up, and off they were, winning the division, clinching the home field advantage. It was exciting and all that stuff. It was great, man. And then, of course, think about it. The time you have from when you're 7 years old all the way to 13, which was basically my time, when they went in 81, and then again they went in 1988, 82. I hate that about the NFL and football, but it's no one's fault, right? But when you're talking about a certain season, the Super Bowl is played in a different season. So it is what it is. But so 81 season and 88 season, 7 years. So from my perspective as a little bitty kid, the fact that we had to go back and see Joe Montana is really crazy as far as I'm concerned. It was my whole entire life, and I'm like, hey, what's the deal here, man? Joe Montana's still here? What is that? But old Joe, I respect Joe Montana, man, but I hate the 49ers, and I hate Joe Montana. I mean, you know what I'm saying. If I had to help him out, like if his car was broke down, I would do it. I don't wish him no ill will, but I just hate him. I mean, if he could never exist, I'd prefer he never existed. Does that make me crazy? I don't know. Probably does. I don't know. But I don't know. It's something else, man. Being a Bengal fan is tough because it always seems like you're an inch away. It's like, we finally get back to that amazing season, 2015, and we're 9-0. 9-0. Best record the Bengals ever had. Was it 8-0? I don't even know. I think it was 9-0. And then Andy Dalton gets his thumb broke. I actually went to the game, me and my son, and we go there, we're watching it. I'm so disgusted because it seems like it's the same old, same old. It's like, okay, Pittsburgh's going to hammer us again. All right. It's, and then that Vontaze Burfict beat down Ben, carry the whole team on his back, and then all of a sudden, McCarron, you guys all know the story. And I was there. I was hugging strangers. I was hugging strangers in the stands, man. It was so sweet. It was a great, great memory. And then all of a sudden, that one guy fumbled. I'm not even going to mention his name because, people pile up on that guy. And listen, I've played football. My kids play football. Nobody wants to fumble. As much as it broke my heart, it wasn't like he wanted to fumble. But I don't know, man. It's that crazy addiction. It's like when I was a kid and they had that magical 88 season. Like I said, I live in Michigan. I live in Detroit. Well, outside of Detroit. And I would actually go in the car and listen. I could listen to 6:10 a.m. and I could hear it inside and out. Like, ooh, what's happening? What happened in the Bengals? This is before DirecTV and the Sunday Ticket and all that. So I just want to give you a little history on the Cincinnati Bengal genius and how I started becoming a fan. I mean, it was all the way from, that was it, man. It was definitely that 81 team. Ken Anderson, Pete Johnson, Munoz, Chris Collinsworth. Man, I love Chris Collinsworth, man, when he was catching them bombs. Woo-wee. Man, we throwing up to Chris Collinsworth. And, looking back on that Super Bowl, I just want this to be on the record somewhere, okay? If there was just so many things, it was so close, man. It was so close that they could have beat the 49ers, but it just didn't work out. There were so many turnovers and this and that. It was brutal, man. But that 88 season, that was the worst, man. Rest in peace, Lewis Billups dropping that end zone interception, and I really honestly think Boomer Esiason's shoulder was tore up, man. If you think about it, that whole season, man, that whole playoffs, what was going on there, man? I mean, Boomer, all of a sudden they were the best offense in the history of the league, and then all of a sudden he couldn't do anything in the playoffs. I think he was injured, and I think to this day that if Turk Schonert was put in the second half, they would have won the Super Bowl. There's no way you could make the move, right? But still, it's nice to wonder. Joe Montana, puke. But that's a little history of the Cincinnati Bengal genius. Just want to give you a little rundown on here and where it all began. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like. And let's get ready, man. We got playoffs coming. Not the playoffs. We got preseason coming very quick. Thanks for watching. Let's go Bengals. Let's go Bengals. Have a good one.